virtually free subsidy that is increasing daily, that is available to all and to the entire earth and to all food crops and all forest crops and all range crops.
Carbon dioxide also helps these crops overcome harsh growing conditions, such as drought and pollution.
The amount of water that's used by plants to produce the same amount of growth actually decreases with increased CO2.
So a higher water use efficiency means we're using CO2 more efficiently in terms of the water requirements for the crop.
This will change some of the ecosystems. It may allow some plants to grow in areas that now would be considered marginal for the growth of those plants. So we'd have more biomass production, plants in a little bit different area, and we may actually be able to farm some of the areas that would now be considered desert.
Rather than a dangerous pollutant, carbon dioxide could be called a miracle gas that acts like a free fertilizer to help alleviate famine in regions of the world that have frequent droughts and famines, all without causing harm to the environment or people.
Okay, research has shown that increases of CO2 concentration of 2, 3, 4, 5 times would not have a detrimental effect upon the Earth's biosphere.
The evidence that increasing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is going to cause a disaster is somewhere between slim and none. However, the evidence that it's doing a good thing by lengthening the growing season and making plants grow better is somewhere between large and overwhelming.
Trying to understand climate change is like trying to put together an extraordinarily complex jigsaw puzzle in which we are still missing many key pieces.
We haven't even got all the edge pieces, and we really haven't got some of the corner pieces. For example, the oceans. Our knowledge about deep ocean circulation, where you can have huge amounts of heat energy stored for up to 10,000 years.
But what they can't have is a situation where people just yank a paper out of the literature without having done any kind of analysis of it or verification of it and say, on this basis, we're going to start spending billions of dollars. That's just a recipe for disaster.
All of these theories are being explored by scientists to fully understand the complex factors that influence climate. However, the current political landscape endorses just one theory, that human-generated CO2 is the principal cause of global warming.
Those views are indeed promoted by political bodies, which is the Intergovernmental Panel for Climate Change, and there appears to be a corrupted process, in my opinion, of the bodies, where I think science and scientists are being misused in a lot of ways. And these are all becoming really a war of words instead of war of evidence and science that troubles me.
It's a science document, which is really written by scientists for scientists. There's also a summary for policymakers. It's put together by policymakers, and in many cases, they go back to the scientists and say, can you change the science document to match our summary? We want to beef this up. We want to make it look worse. That's not the way science is done.
They are clearly promoting the vision that if we do not cut our carbon dioxide emission, disaster, crisis, whichever bad connotation you can find, will come to Earth. So it is that kind of alarmism that appalls me as a scientist.
What we have to remember is climate changes and climate fluctuates. And really, while we think humans have an impact on our environment, which we do, the global climate system is still far too complex to be simply affected by one change in one small component of it.
There is no one in the world who would insist that everything is having to do with the sun. All we are trying to do is that there's this plausible picture of how the sun could cause some of the changes in the climate system. Why not study it carefully? It's very, very difficult, in my opinion, to try to insist and suggest that carbon dioxide, even as of today, when we emit this carbon dioxide, is going to drive the climate system. It's a complete false picture, and there's no such scientific basis to support that.
So the idea of science is you're really supposed to be skeptical. So there's always a quest to verify what we know, to understand that we haven't made a mistake, and that we continue on and develop science. And if we've closed our mind, if we close the doors, we are now shutting ourselves out from the real truth, which is what science is all about after all.
What you have seen in this video is only a small part of the evidence that the current warming of the Earth is natural. I hope this evidence has helped you understand what the emerging science is showing and why we never hear about it. I hope you ask yourself why temperature preceded carbon dioxide levels for hundreds of thousands of years, or why the mid-troposphere is not warming according to what the carbon dioxide warming theory states it must. Then ask yourself why there is not a good correlation between carbon dioxide levels and temperature over the past 1,000 years, when there is very good correlation between solar and cosmic radiation levels and temperature. Finally, ask yourself why you were never told that much higher levels of atmospheric carbon dioxide could provide a huge benefit to people and Earth's environment. Whatever you decide, I hope this video generates important discussions with your classmates on this critical issue. Thank you.